Today's session a little bit about Java. I won't go into details into Java because you already know object-oriented programming, how it behaves and how it works. So I won't go into much detail into that. We'll be I'll explain in brief. I'll explain in brief everything how it works, but I won't go into much detail. And then anyway, we'll be seeing all of that while doing programs. So hopefully I'll take 15 minutes into this, and since we are past 15 minutes, we will shortcut the same, but we'll be covering all of this in anyway while programming. And XML, I think we will take 10 minutes for this, and basically the tools and specifically the Android Studio. So we'll cover. Just a minute, I got a. Yeah, so sorry for the interruption, and this one will be covering the most part on this, and like we'll take 20 minutes on into this. I'll explain you how it looks, and first about the installation and about the SDK and all of that. So yeah. So for explaining Java simple program, I'll do some simple programs in Java. So I'll use a tool called Dr. Java for this. You don't have to. You can install Dr. Java uh, if you want to practice only simple Java programs. But if you want to do everything in Android Studio itself, you need not install this. But it will be helpful if you are practicing anything simple, which you don't need the bulk of the Android Studio. You can simply install this Dr. Java. Let me open that. Give me 1 minute. I'm opening Dr. Java application and I'll explain you a few topics in there. So yeah, by the time it opens, so yeah, as I said, we can do the programming in Java, and this Java will be actually converted into bytecode and then the native code. So instead, if we want to write any at the low level, we'll have to write it in the C language. Yeah. So this is how the Dr. Java looks. So now I'll make a very simple program which simply does a hello world. So you might have seen this program so many times. So first I'll initialize a class. So I'll make it public. Public my hello world. So if you see this, I'm not getting any hints about the program, any hints for the program. So if you use Android Studio, you'll get uh, automatic sessions, so you don't have to write all the code by yourself. So the IDE will be helping you, but it will be useful if you know the code by heart, so you can do it much faster. So IDE is always just a tool. And here I'll print some dot. I'll save it. Yeah. Let me save it itself like hello world. So this is a simple program where I'm printing the output. So at the bottom you can you can see the console here. So whatever we do, whatever we are printing to the console, it will get printed here. And then yeah, and then the compile operation, since it is not exactly the native code, so first we'll compile it and we'll convert it to the bytecode, and then while running the JVM will run the bytecode. So we'll have to, this is a Java is a compilation language. So unlike Python or other languages, Java is a compilation language. So first we'll have to compile it and convert the code to bytecode. So I'm compiling it. So if you take one simple difference between Android Studio and the starter Java application with respect to coding is the Android Studio will constantly compile the application. So when there is an error, it will show there itself that some compilation error is there. So if you see here, the compilation is completed, and we can. So once the compilation is completed, it means the bytecode is generated, and then we'll run the application. Yeah, if you see at the bottom, you can see the hello world. So I'll explain what are all the components in this simple program. So public, we call it as access modifier. So I'll write simple notes here. You don't have to write anything for now, at least for this class. Access modifier. So there are a few types of access modifiers: public, private, and then protected, and then default, or it can be called as package private. So private is usual. Public is it means that the class is publicly accessible to anything, to everything outside the world. So usually when we are running this class, for the compiler to actually identify this class and all the methods in this, the class should be public. So that's why we have mentioned it public. And then, and this implies what is this, whether it is a class or interface or anything. Yeah, let me go through all of this. Private will be if we mention anything private, so usually we mention private inside a class, and if something is private, it means that it will be accessible only in that particular class. And protected means it will be accessible to, yeah, if you know about the hierarchical, so only the subclasses will be, so public, yeah, complete world, private only inside the class, and protected is subclasses will be able to access it. And then default, if we don't write anything, it's called default, and few people call it package private and few people call it default. We don't mention it as default anywhere. Here we are writing public, so it means public. If we don't write anything, it's called default. There is nothing called default. So there is nothing called this way. So we mention it as if we don't mention anything, it will be default. So for this, this means that the class or methods will be accessible in the inside the same package itself. So package with respect to Java, it just means it is just like a folder. So like you organize the files. This music, suppose music, will be organizing it under the names Telugu, Hindi, English. So package is similar to that. We'll be logically accessing those. We'll be logically arranging those. So we'll mention. So we'll call it as a package. So this is about the access modifiers, and then this means that this is a class and this is the class name. So usually class names will be writing it in camel case. So starting with a capital. So here we mention this as my hello world. So this is the usual nomenclature. So this is the usual nomenclature we use inside the whole everywhere while doing Java. So this is how you have to write. So you have to start with a capital letter, and whenever the new word starts, we'll capitalize it. Similarly here. So this is the way we write the class names, and then again this method. So we have to use the access modifiers for the methods class for classes. Methods and variables as well. Variables and even we can say constants too. So for this method, the access modifier is public. This is public because the compiler has to. So when we run the program, so first the compiler will search for a method called main. So for it to identify it, it has to be public. Suppose if we write it as private, and if we compile it, there is no problem in the logic. So the compilation will be completed. But when we write it, when we run it, the JVM will try to find the main method. Since it is private, it will be accessible only inside this class, and JVM will not be able to find this method. So we won't be able to print this hello world. So just a small demonstration. If you see here, we get an error message that this is a runtime error, and this is not a crash. This is just a error message that Dr. Java is giving. This class does not have a static void main method accepting string arguments. So since the JVM is not able to find it, it has printed some error message. So static, there is one big concept about static, how the static works. So whenever it is static, it means that we don't need an object to call the method or the variable. So static, we can have it for right. We don't need object of the class to access it. So why the main method is static? Because again, because the JVM does not create the objects. We have to create the objects whenever we want it. So JVM does not need to create the objects. So when we run this class, it should be able to directly call the main method without creating an object of this class. So it will be trying to find a method simply like this: my hello world dot main. It will be trying to run a method like this. So this will be some string, maybe it can even pass null. So it will be trying to run the main method like this. And then these are the arguments we are passing to the method. So you might be very familiar with this, how we are passing the arguments. Suppose for this println method, the arguments are this one, hello world. So and then this system.out.println, it's just a kind of log statement or printing to the console. So every programming language will have some way to print the values to the console. So here it is this one. So this is about the most basic program in Java. So you need to be familiar with all of this, how we write the class names, how we write the method names. If you see the method name, here the method names will start, it will be camel case, similar to the class names, but the only difference is here we start with a small letter. So in this case, so if it was a class name, we would have written like this, but since this is a method name, we'll start with a small letter. And yeah, and if it was main word, then we would have written like this. We'll capitalize whenever new word starts logically, but since it is only one word, we'll have it main, just main. And then yeah, so this is about the most simplest program, but we'll be covering all of this again when we are doing. So we'll be using all of this. We'll be using the static access modifiers, and then encapsulation, and all of the object-oriented concepts we'll be using it. So I just wanted to brush up the concepts related to Java, and then let's get into XML. So if you want to practice simple Java programs, you can. It's better to install this .java. So I'll write a before ending. I'll write a simple program with a loop. So yeah, I just want to I'll pose a question to you. So so you have seen this program now. So what will this print? Yeah, Sabihar Yasir. So can you try to answer?
It will print the hello world like 4 times.
Yeah. So it will.
5 times.
Yeah. It will print the hello world 5 times. So it will start from 0. The index starts from, so we are starting the index from 0, and the condition is I less than 5, and then the operation after the loop is I plus plus. So this will print it 5 times. I'll just run it now. Compile. And then run. So if you see here, it has printed the hello world 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let me go into the XML. So XML is not a programming language; it's a markup language. So further, the name is extended markup language. So markup languages are different from programming languages. We we can't write any logics or loops or anything in the markup languages. So one more example of a markup language is HTML. So it is hypertext. I think it's hypertext markup language. And similarly, XHTML, it's something similar to HTML and some extended hypertext markup language. So these are markup languages which we don't write any logic in this. So if you see here, we wrote a logic which prints hello world for 5 times. So this is the logic. We are running a for loop and we are printing it 5 times. So we can't write any logics in the XML or any markup languages. So if you take the example of HTML, when we write HTML, so yeah, this is a simple HTML I can write to explain what I mean. So if you take this is a simple HTML where I can save this text as a .html file and I can open it in a browser. So the browser reads this HTML and understands that this is a HTML object. So it has some HTML body, and this is the body. So browser understands this one, and it will print the hello world. So whatever is not a proper HTML tag, it will print onto the screen. So when we write this, we are not writing any logic here. So browser just understands whatever we have written, the markup. So these things we can call it as these tags. We can call it as markups. So whatever we have in these markups, it will try to understand, and it will print wherever is necessary, and whatever is necessary, it will just print it. So if you take so HTML, if you want to write anything in a HTML file or a web page, we can write it in JS or in JavaScript or anywhere. Yeah, you can use JavaScript, and there are multiple ways to extend the HTML. So you can put some logics in the JavaScript, and to our concept, what is XML is, it's a simple markup. It's the most we don't even have as many rules as HTML in XML. So it's the most simplest of markup languages. So I can mention it as yeah. So let's say I have a list of fruits. So I can mention it as like this. So always a tag will have an opening tag and then the closing tag. So and then let's say I have apple. So since I opened the fruit, I have to close it. And then one more fruit, I have one more fruit. I opened it and I'm closing it, and I'll write one more fruit. Watermelon. And then yeah. So if you see this is, if you compare these two, HTML and XML, these are very similar. Only the difference is HTML is intended for a different purpose, and XML is usually intended for the communication purpose. So if there are any two example, if there are two servers or two different applications, or two, I can take the servers example. So two servers which are written into completely different platforms. So they don't have any common language or common communication method in which what server 1 is saying, server 2 can't understand. So in that case, the communication will be done in XMLs. So all the servers are everything. XML can be understood by anything. So when server 1 sends list of fruits, if it sends like this, list fruits, fruit apple, fruit banana, fruit watermelon. So the server 2 can easily understand that this is a list of fruits. So we can parse it. So the process of getting the information from the XML, we call it as parsing. So for usually this is XML is used for such communication between two different platforms. But in our application in Android, XML will be XML will be used for layout, making the layouts. So when we have a screen, so let's say we have some screen which says let's say this is my phone screen. So, and we want to print something as hello here. So if it was a HTML, we'll write it something like this. And in XML, there is some specific, in Android, there is, in XML, we have to write some specific, we have to write it in some specific, specific tags so that we will be able to print the hello here. So we'll be going into examples when we start doing the layouts. So this is the intention of the XML. So all the layouts will be written in XML. So layouts will be written in XML, and then in Java all the logics will be written. So since Java is programming language, so since Java is a programming language, we'll be writing all the logics in this, and since XML is just a markup language, we'll use the similar to HTML. We'll use for layouts XML, and then so for XML everything so for every programming language there will be a spec, and even for XML, even though this is very simple, for whatever we mention between the tags, we can simply mention it as, we can simply call it as a XML. So if we have a simple opening tag and closing tag, we can simply call it as an XML. So but even for XML there is a specification, and the specification we'll show it as like this. So there will be we'll usually note the specification. So what kind of specification is this? So which means that whoever is reading the XML, they'll be able to understand what kind of spec is this one following. So this is a proper XML, and I don't remember what comes here, but there will be the notification of there will be information about the version of the XML specification here. So this whole thing we call it XML, and then so as I said, XML will be used for layouts, and then all the logics will be done in Java. And then here I will show. Now going into the tools for this Android development. So the most important tool we need is the Android Studio. So it's good if you have already installed it. If you didn't install, so just search for Android Studio and download Android Studio from here. So this will be like out of the box, so you don't have to do anything. You just have to download this and run it. Only thing you need to take care of is you need to put huge space in your drive. So it's always better to dedicate a drive for Android development in your system configurations. So in the disk drive, dedicated drive for this. Android Studio won't take much space, but the SDK will take so much space. So what is SDK is, so every year you'll be hearing that a new version of Android has come. So essentially they mean that they'll be releasing new SDKs for Android. So SDK means it's called software development kit. So whenever they release Android KitKat example, so they'll be doing a SDK release for us to develop applications for Android KitKat. So if we need to have all the latest SDKs with us. So and each SDK will go, the size of each SDK will go into GBs. So if you want to support from example Android 4.0 to latest, so it is always best to have all the SDKs, or at least the latest SDK and the lowest one which we want to support. We need to have all these SDKs. So these SDKs will take so much space in the hard drive. So we need to dedicate a drive for this, which with minimum some 50 GB. So it's better to have at least a 50 GB of space just for the SDKs, and always better to have a separate drive for this. So when you take from here, it will be out of the box. You just have to download it, and then for the SDK, it will automatically install the SDK, so you don't have to do anything. And here there will be some information about Meet Android Studio features. So you don't, I'll be explaining all these topics, how you'll be how to start a new project, and how to go through all of this. If there is anything specific here, I'll explain. So when I show the programming, I'll show regarding the folder structure, how the folders will be maintained. So if you see this, the resources will contain all the XML files and the static files. So static files means they won't change, and Java means the programming files. So static files will contain the layouts, XMLs, and images. So these things will be in the resources files, and the programming files will be in the Java Java. And manifest, I'll explain even about the manifest later, but manifest, you can simply understand it as whatever we are writing in the Android application, it has to be registered in the manifest. So we have to register in the sense we have to mention in the manifest file that we have this component and we are using this specific component, or we have written this specific component, and it has to be run by the phone. So such information in the manifest. We'll go through the manifest detail, in detail in the coming classes. And then the user interface, tool windows. So tool windows, actually you can understand. While doing the project, I'll explain you all the shortcuts. But you don't need to understand each and everything what is being done in the what is being done in the program, what is being done in the Android Studio. So we'll be seeing only the